everybody? Welcome back to HitPoint, a JRPG news show, an anime news show, a niche news show, a show where Baku and I will not judge you if you're sleekly dancing to the show's intro. We broadcast live every single Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central. What day is it, Baku? Oh my gosh. It's Monday. It's Monday. What happened?
Time lapse. Something.
Oh, okay. We fell into a time warp, so yeah, it felt like Sunday just yesterday. I don't know what happened. But
That's exactly what happened.
But we'll be answering questions and comments from the chat at the end of the show. We'll be previewing trailers and talking about rumors, a lot of rumors today. And normally we stream at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Sundays, but unfortunately things just kind of piled up on us this weekend, so we decided that in addition to skipping last week due to Baku having a birthday.
A birthday? How dare you?
A birthday. Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations on your annual trip around the sun.
Thank you.
Hope you've had a good celebration of that.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, just didn't vomit this year, which is nice.
Hey, that's a sign of maturity.
Improvement.
He can be taught. Don't tell anybody that Baku never learns from his lessons 36 years in a row. I don't know is that how old you are?
37.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, I know. Ugh.
Yeah, so old.
Crusty.
Oh my god. Anyway, my birthday's coming up, so we will probably be skipping the not the next episode, but the week after. Yeah. So
happy early birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. Yep. So, anyways, hope you guys at home had a great couple of weeks. We've had a lot of time to stew on things and just collect all kinds of fun rumors and stuff to talk about. So yeah, it is good to have you all here. Thank you for joining us tonight. So we did start with something kind of brand new to the show last week, which we called the question of the week. Hang on, I think that needs a little more. I feel like that needs a little more gravitas here. Hang on. The question of the week.
Perfect.
Nailed it. There we go.
It.
That is what we have. The question of the week. And last week we asked y'all's at home. We asked you about if there was something that you wanted to return from the RPGs of yore, the classic RPGs, some feature that just kind of went by the wayside at some point, but you want them to come back. What is that? And we got a lot of answers last week, and can't wait to tell you about this one. This one came from The Goat. I mean, maybe not The Goat, but it is the username The Goat. I mean, who knows? They could be the greatest of all time. But they said, I'd like to see something akin to the Final Fantasy IX equipment abilities system, where permanent abilities can be learned by finding new equipment, or similar to like Lost Odyssey's ability system as well.
Interesting.
I love those. I especially think that Grandia had something similar as well, and it just was so fun to like acquire all of these abilities and little perks and quirks and stuff that just basically burned the game to the ground. It was so broken by the end of the game. You could do whatever you wanted, but you had to be smart about it. And I think that that's one of the things I love about a lot of the Trails games. It's like if you're smart about it, you can just get these various abilities that just make the whole thing, broken in the best way possible, you know?
Yeah. Certain characters are inherently broken.
Absolutely.
Next we got Japanimation Man, who says, I would bring back quick openings. I miss how old games would just start. Maybe at worst, like a 5-minute cutscene, then boom, you're starting somewhere and can start exploring around however you like. So Japanimation Man is not a fan of Persona, I see.
Well, did you play? You haven't played Persona 5 yet, though, did you?
I am playing Persona 5.
Well, Persona 5, how long did it take for you to get into your first battle?
Like 2 hours.
Baku. Think.
It's 2 hours.
No,
2 hours.
no. No.
At first actual battle where you're actually running around, no tutorial, like not a tutorial setting.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah,
But
tutorials don't count. They're just part of the like,
the medias res opening, I thought did a really good job of like kind of getting you into the game to like see what the meat and potatoes of the gameplay would actually be like. And I think Persona 5 did a pretty good job, as opposed to like Persona 4, which legitimately was just like 2 hours of exposition before anything happened.
I think we did like 2 actual streams before we fought our first battle for Persona 4.
Well, that's not a very accurate way to gauge things, Baku, because everybody knows on your streams you don't actually play games.
That's true. We do a lot of talking.
Yeah, it's very, very much just, the games come secondary. It's the Baku show. So
if people want to see the game, they could just watch
a
YouTube.
Let's Play or something.
They're not here. Yeah. They're not here to see the game.
But yeah, I think that was a pretty unique way to do that. And I think that the Trails series has done that a few times. I think they've been doing that since the Crossbell arc. At the start of the Crossbell arc and forward, every game has this little medias res opening that kind of it just throws you into the middle of things, and you get to play a little bit, and then it reels things back in after you like experience like, here's this crazy climactic moment. But let's it's one of those freeze frame. I bet you're probably wondering how you got into this sort of situation. Well, let me just reel it back.
Are you about to get quippy? Are you about to get quippy with us?
Oh yeah, that's Trails in a nutshell, and I love it. I love it for it.
Okay.
And now I'm fighting freaking dragons.
Oh wow! Oh, that's just another day of my life.
Yep, that's just what I do now. This one comes from Maskey, who says, I'd personally like to bring back the ability to unlock all cosmetics via quests in the game. I don't mind there being an option to buy costumes as DLC, but I want the option to earn it in-game to remain. And other commenters actually kind of seconded that, not necessarily like responding to that comment, but this is something that I've seen from a lot of people is like, let me earn things that you are now trying to sell to me instead. Like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's such a solid pick there, Maskey.
Yep, absolutely. And then we've got one from Ray Miyazaki, who says, I would like something like triple tech from Chrono Trigger in modern JRPGs. Oh, yeah. I mean, those are always fun. Like discovering new techs is so yeah, I mean, just remembering playing Chrono Trigger as a kid, and then because there were no guides, right? Just remember, we're back in the 90s, no guides, no internet. Okay?
I mean, there were guides, but you had to spend money on them, and that's money you could have spent on a video game.
Yeah, so. As a child, I couldn't afford that, so effectively no guides. And then as you're playing the game, they're like, "Oh, unlock new tech." You're like, "There's a new tech? What
new tech?"
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, what team combination, what kind of stuff do I have to do to like unlock these? And that's just hours and hours of like entertainment.
And in order to actually unlock them, it was one of those things where you had to earn them. You had to play with various character combinations for a while, and then they would eventually learn them together.
Right.
Because like,
so you have to experiment.
There are some techs that I still got for like the very first time during my last playthrough of Chrono Trigger that I just never saw before. So there are untapped dual and triple techs that like I've never seen, especially
and that's cool.
Especially those little star summons as well. Like I know that I've never successfully summoned some of those magic attacks.
Yeah, there are these little things. Oh, okay. So do you remember? I don't know if you know this, but in Final Fantasy VI, there's something called desperation attacks. Have you ever seen those before? Oh maybe. My God! You've never seen desperation attacks.
I don't know, man. So I've said this a few times, but it's probably still going to surprise a lot of people to hear that there's a certain point that I never got past in Final Fantasy VI because I couldn't figure out what to do, and it was when I was playing as this lady on an island by herself.
Oh.
And I know a lot of you know exactly what moment I'm talking about.
Yes.
And and I haven't tried playing Final Fantasy in probably 20 years. So I should give Final Fantasy 6 another go at some point, but I haven't.
So I
and I'm
feel
sorry.
like
I know I'm
we
breaking
have
so many
to-
hearts out there.
We have to shame Derek into playing Final Fantasy 6. How dare you?
I feel
sir?
the shame already. I had to get out in front of that. Did you see that? Did you see how quickly I was just like, okay, hold on. Okay.
You better have to go on an apology tour, you know that, right?
Baku is very sorry that I've never played Final Fantasy VI before, everybody.
I am.
I've played it, just haven't finished it. But what were you saying,
Yeah.
though? You were saying something about desperation attacks. What is desperation attacks? This sounds...
Okay. So not going to shame you because so Final Fantasy 6, for anyone who does not know, is my absolute favorite Final Fantasy all time. There are other good Final Fantasies. I get it. This is not a competition, but in my mind, FF6 is the best, right? And I played it when I was a kid. I played it many, many times. I've discovered how to save Shadow without looking at a guide on my own. To give you an idea how much time I've spent on that game. No guides, no one told me how to do it. We just like played it enough times that at some point it just actually happened, and I'm like, what? You can save him all
Don't
this
you love
time?
that feeling of discovery?
What? Yeah, crazy. But desperation attack is something that even after playing all those times, I never knew until I played it as an adult. And I was reading through guides, and they're like Final Fantasy 6 Desperation Attack. I'm like, what the heck is Desperation Attack? I'm like,
okay,
is this a mod?
So I'm not crazy for having never heard of this then.
No, you're not crazy.
Okay.
And I'm like, is this some mod? Is this some kind of like a thing? Because they're by the time I played it again, it's on Steam, and there are all kinds of mods, and there are all kinds of challenge mods, whatever. I'm like, did someone add a thing to this? And I'm like, no, this is like a thing that's built into the game. What is it? So desperation attack is when your character's health is lower than a certain amount, and you let them use the regular attack, and there's a chance that they will use like a special attack that's very powerful, and it's called desperation attack.
Okay.
And it's just so hard for me to trigger that because number one, I don't keep my character's health for that low for long enough.
Yeah.
And two, if it's ever that low, it's not using regular attack. I'm gonna have it do literally anything else, maybe heal itself.
Okay.
Right?
All right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because like
three, even if you do attack, is a chance that they will do it. Just to make that,
just to make it extra like unreliable.
Right. So I'm just like, that never actually happened for me.
Do they look cool at least? Like, do they look extra?
Oh, they look awesome. And I'm like, why did they not make this like a more regularly usable thing?
Man.
Well, they did in FF7. It's called Limit Break.
Oh God. That's really cool though. I love the idea of like, I wonder if there's a strategy. I'm sure that there is for some people to just like have like people at like bottom level, like just lowest health and just like a nothing but desperation attack run.
I wonder. Well, you have to mix in regular attacks because it's like a chance thing. So yeah, I don't know what chance it is, but it's not exactly like often. So yeah.
Man, that sounds pretty
Fun.
rad.
Yeah, right. Fun stuff.
Talk about things that you only get through like earning them in a game is like running into that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then finally we got another comment here from Digiman who says the thing I wish would come back is the 25 to 40 hour RPG.
Indies.
Yeah. And they mentioned they did mention indies. But I think that, a AAA experience that just kind of, is there, puts on a great show and then leaves you stunned after like 25 hours. There is something to be said about that. And I did say something about that during my video talking about why shorter RPGs are sometimes better, or why they can be better. But really, I should have renamed it to something like why RPGs that respect your time are better. And because, I mean, let's be real, a lot of RPGs, and I'm not going to point fingers and name names.
Mhm.
That's just not very classy. But a lot of them just kind of fluff up the numbers. You know, they stuff a little padding in there, you know?
Side quest! Side quest!
I mean, yeah.
Side quests, okay.
Some side quests are really good, but the
True or false?
majority are so lackluster.
Okay, true or false? Side quests in RPGs is basically filler in anime.
Oh.
So they can be good, but my god, 90% of them are pure fluff.
Okay, counterpoint, Door 15 and Trails.
Is that a side? Is that a side quest though?
Technically, it is optional.
That's
Counterpoints,
true, it is optional.
all of the main characters' side quests and Chrono Trigger. They can be really good. You know,
they can be.
They can be, but they seldom are.
Okay, Chrono Trigger is a bit of an oddball because
Chrono Trigger is such an exceptional game, though. It's so exceptional that it is
exception.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I mean, they can be, but the vast majority aren't that awesome. But on the subject of side quests, I will take this moment to plug a collaboration that I was involved with on David Vink's channel. Me and something like 30 YouTubers in the space. It's probably not actually that many, but it was a 30-minute video. All kind of got together to talk about our favorite side quests from various RPGs.
Nice.
I, of course, had to represent Door 15 and Trails in the Sky the Third. But there were a lot of really good options. Man, Chrono Cross also had really good side quests. If you knew who to play as, you know, to get to them. But here's the other problem with side quests is like I don't want to make that a whole discussion topic of just dogging on side quests, but it's like if you want to have some like really good content, why make it optional? Like why not make that part of the main game if it's going to be really good? Like should Door 15, and I know this is going to really bug people who haven't played Sky the Third, but you really should. But for people who didn't experience Door 15, I think Trails in the Sky the Third would have probably felt pretty lackluster overall. But I think that story arc, that whole redemption arc, almost not redemption, but kind of like background arc that you finally find out about some of the main characters, like it redeemed them as characters, like made them characters that I just really wanted to care about and wanted them to do better and got me super invested. Like that, to not experience that, to hide that behind doing all of the other side content, man.
You had to earn it.
That's kind of you
had to earn it.
I like Trails in the Sky the Third quite a bit, but I mean that is an example of a game that maybe didn't respect your time enough.
You put in very kindly, yes.
I'm trying my best. I love the games. I love the story, but man, if they could have made that, like if they could have cut out some of the fluff, or if they could have just made the, you know, not optional, like that, like we said before, like when you were playing these games without the internet, you had no idea. You didn't know you could save Shadow until your 17th playthrough. How many people played through this game? I mean, before the internet? Well, probably not before the internet, because
this game is decidedly post-internet.
It was decidedly DLC only in the U.S. So, or online only. So I guess it's forgivable in that sense. But like, man, if you weren't playing with a guide, it would be so easy to just ride right past that and never get it, which is really sad. Because it's one of the best parts. So yeah, that was our question of the week last week. But Baku, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What is something from RPGs of RPG past that you would like to see return to modern RPGs?
RPG past that I would like to see return.
Yeah.
I feel like I've answered this before. Have I?
I think you started to, but I cut you off last week because I didn't want to influence.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you want to hear it in the next show. I get you.
Yeah.
So new segment, guys. I'm sorry. This is new. He
Yeah,
doesn't tell me these things before. It's literally just like, hey, here's an idea. Question of the week. And
I
I'm
did put
like,
you on the
okay,
spot.
cool.
Yeah, I just threw out question of the week last week. He had no idea.
Literally right before the show. I was like, okay, sure, that sounds fun.
Yeah, I was actually going through these things. And I just hit this button and I'm like, oh, by the way, we have questions of the week now.
I'm like, what?
I'm like, don't worry about it. I got this. This is my segment. I'm the captain now.
I captain. But yeah, to answer your question though, I think I want them to bring fun back because I've been not having fun playing a lot of the modern RPGs. They focus a lot on, and let me explain what that means because it sounds so abstract. Right? It's like, well, what is fun?
I think I get it, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I feel like modern RPGs, a lot of times they focus on graphics, they focus on the blings, they focus on like, maybe dark stories, like complex things, narratives, and
there's nothing wrong with those things.
and
if
there's
you like
nothing
them.
wrong with those, yeah. But what I found is that a lot of games from the yesteryears was so much fun. There's a lot of fun
Yeah.
in exploring and just like a childlike wonder. A game that's brought it back for me a little bit was Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh yeah.
Where like I could just kind of run around and just like do things. Stream was yelling at me for not progressing, but I was having fun. I was just running around exploring. Like there are these chests that are hidden behind these really powerful monsters, right?
Yeah.
And by design, you're supposed to like beat the monster and then get to the chest, right? Supposed to. But if you try really hard, some of those you can kind of like sneak around and get it and then get killed, but you grab the treasure, so it's fine because now it's in your inventory. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with graphics or stories or all those other things that are more like the focus, but just these little bits of during the adventure, you can kind of go off-road a little bit. It's like, yeah, but what if you did this instead?
Sure.
That's the kind of fun.
What you're making me think of is, and I know that everybody's tired of me talking about Trails because I've been talking about Trails nonstop. But I'm going to talk about Trails here for a second because,
except for Trail fans, they're not tired of you talking about Trails.
I know. Join me, brothers and sisters, in my newfound cultish love for Trails. But for real, what I like about the Trails games is that they have fun. They have the story. I was gonna say they have the graphics. They don't have the graphics. Let's be honest. They're okay looking games at best, but they have a great story, and I think the combat is fun, and the way that they achieve fun to me is by allowing you to construct your characters in such a way that they let you break the game. Similar, I heard somebody else talking about. They were talking about Legend of Zelda, the new one, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Where basically Nintendo gives you enough leeway to with the tools that they provide you that you can break the game and do whatever you want to with it. Basically, they even gave you something that they used in like development.
That swim dive thing that they did.
Yeah, that was like a debug tool, but they're like, this is so broken. Let's give it to the players.
Yeah.
So they didn't care. Like they're like because cheating in the game was fun, right? and that's essentially what the Trails system does by giving you enough leeway with like how to construct your characters. They're like, sure, how about why would we prevent any effect from stacking? Let's let players stack all of the effects and just like, yeah, sure, you have like evasion of 10% on this thing, but how about evasion of 15% on this thing and evasion of, another 5% here and another 20% there. And soon enough, you have like an evasion rate of 118% where you can counterattack with critical hit damage every single time that character gets hit. And it's just a cacophony of like everybody like trying to hit this character, failing and getting reprised for critical damage. Like, and just seeing these machinations come to fruition, your creativity, it's not as on the surface. It's not as immediately visible as it is in like Tears of the Kingdom. Like you can't like see yourself flying across the countryside or like swimming through a rock. It's not that visual, but I think that is something that is super addicting about the Trails games, and they all find new ways for you to find ways to break it. I don't think that they're trying to get you to not break the game, but I think that they do move the goalposts sometimes so that like you have to find new ways to break the game because that's what's funner, right?
I mean, these companies now, they're practically treating them like they are just like movies with set pieces, and they're very impressive looking, and that's great. But I think companies are just forgetting that fundamentally this medium are games, and we call them games for a reason because games are fun. We play games, right?
Yeah. The art of cinema is cinematography. The art of games is the game play. Play being the operative word. These are realms for us to play in. And it's, it can encompass all those other things like you were saying. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the way we interface, the thing that makes video games unique as a medium is the play.
Yep. And that's what I want modern games to bring back.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question?
No. Actually,
no.
Can we keep going
another one?
I'm just kidding.
We can go on for like 3 hours, I feel like. But I mean, what about you? What are some things that you want to bring back?
Oh man. So I think that one of the things that I really miss about older RPGs, the more I play the newer ones, is like the abstraction involved in like overworld maps, seeing giant icons of your characters traipsing across the countryside. I think that in a weird way, like you can cover huge swaths of land in just a few short moments like that, but it gives the game a little bit more sense of scale, I think, right? Like, if you could literally traverse entire continents by just going through and running through a few very long but singularly connected screens, like in an open zone game, it makes the game feel small. Even if it's large, even if the areas are large, the abstraction involved in like the zoomed out thing where it shows here's the giant character walking across the countryside. It's like, oh wow, I'm going across the entire continent right now. Look how big that continent is. This really gives me a good sense of scale. Whereas when you are playing the game at at scale where you have like a life-size character in a life-size world, like in order to make it feel like you're crossing a continent, it's gonna take dozens and dozens and dozens of hours to actually make it feel like it's that big. 2, you have to fill it with something to make it interesting. And I don't know if you've ever driven across the United States, but there's a whole lot of nothing out there.
It's true. Yes. I've witnessed that when I was driving from LA to San Diego. It's just desert. It's just road and just desert. And I'm like, oh my God, if my car breaks down here, like,
yeah.
I'm a little concerned.
So just make a game that respects your time by cutting out all the extra open spaces full of nothing. And instead, let's give me the zoomed out feel so I can just like walk across the countryside. I think that's one of my favorite aspects from like old Super Nintendo era RPGs, and I would love to see that come back.
Very different philosophy from like the more like recent like open world push. If that makes sense.
And I think that this ties into something we talked about a couple weeks ago when I was talking about pixel art and how that it is not as filled in essentially with detail to the point where you can fill in the details with your own So like if you're walking across the world map and there's some section you can't quite get to, but hey, there's some trees and it looks like there might be a cave over there, and you're like, oh
Mhm.
man, that must just be full of so many wonders. I wonder if I'll ever be able to get over there, right?
Yes.
But it's across a river, and that river is insurmountable. But like, it's like, well, I guess I can't get that way. That must be a crazy raging river. It's
Mhm.
it's the same sort of deal with the abstraction. When you're zoomed out, you don't have all of that minuscule level of detail that allows
Mhm.
you to say in your own mind, here's this, wild open place. I can't imagine what that must look like, or every once in a while you would find a hidden like tile on the map,
Mhm.
and you'd access that, and then you'd see like a close up view of the area and be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
look how cool this place is. I want to see that
Man.
return.
I want to see that too. I want to see that too. Man. Um
Well,
there's
everybody, if
something.
you vote for
Yeah.
Baku and I, we'll make sure these things. I don't know what we're running for, but if you vote for me and Baku with your likes and subscriptions to my channel here on YouTube, there you go.
Yes. There you
Then
go.
then we'll make sure to continue to push for all of the scaled out maps that you deserve.
All the likes in the videos. One day they'll add up. We're gonna tell the industry what's what. Okay.
Well, all
Do,
right.
do we have voicemail? No?
No, we have no
No
voicemail today,
voicemail.
unfortunately. But
What?
you know what? If you guys at home wanted to leave us a voicemail, you could totally do that. Because our voicemail number is 785-337-3805. And I won't even
Mm.
screen your calls. I mean, they'll go to voicemail regardless. But it's not because I'm dodging you, I promise. It's just because I do that for everybody.
And also by email, right?
Oh, that's right. If you don't
Yes.
feel like getting shunted to voicemail, you may also send us a voice file to HitPoint at superdarkrpgs.com.
Yes. All
Do you know that
right.
that's a place, superdarkrpgs.com?
That is a place.
That's a website. And
I've gone there.
yeah, it hasn't been updated in a little while, but it's pretty neat, there's also shop.superdarkrpgs.com where you can get yourself a pretty cool HitPoint t-shirt while you're there.
What is haven't been updated in a while.
Um, I just haven't really done anything to it for a while. Like I think that I had to plug in that
Mhm.
once upon a time would show Twitter tweets, but I think that API
Mm.
was shut down or something, and now
Oh yeah, no,
and
pretty
so
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, so you don't there's certain things that are just a little bit broken. Oh man, once upon a time I had a list of RPGs on there that people could go and like vote up and vote down, kind of like a Reddit interface to like.
Oh wow.
Oh,
That's cool.
it was really cool, and they could suggest new RPGs to add to the list, and they get ranked in there too. And
Oh
it
wow.
was initially conceived as a way for people to like kind of indicate to me what they would most like to see reviewed.
Mhm.
Um, but that became problematic when I didn't do any of it ever. But it was really really cool, regardless. Uh,
Mm.
this was like 8 years ago when I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of doing my own thing. People are voting for like Panzer Dragoon Saga and stuff. I'm never
Mhm.
gonna, like, 8 years ago, I'm like, I'm never gonna have money for this.
Time to bring it back. Time to bring it back.
I should. Maybe I
Yeah.
should. But well, we
All
do
right.
have some other stuff to talk about. So
We do.
unfortunately, the next section is the dreaded delays.
No, not the delays.
Not the delays, but
Mm.
the delays come whether you want them to or not. But luckily, in this case, it just gives us more time to play RPGs as
Mhm.
always. So in this case, we are going to be talking about Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. In the July backer update, 505 Games and Rabbit and Bear Studios announced that the release of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes will be pushed back from this year to Q2 of 2024.
Mhm.
From the update, they say, in order to deliver a game that so many fans have supported, we announced a revised release date of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, with the game now due during calendar year Q2 of 2024. The decision was made in order to ensure the best possible story and reward the legion of backers that with the best game experience possible. Please stay tuned for more updates, and thank you again for your continued support. Now, I think that they had actually kind of had a slowdown in some of the updates that they had been providing. I remember distinctly, like 3 months ago, Baku and I were talking about like all the backer updates that we were getting. We're like, oh my gosh, it's just, there's so many updates coming out of these various things, these Kickstarters. Gosh, I remember, and this was one of them, was Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Like, I don't know how many updates they've put out over the year, but I know that it is so many, and they are so lengthy, and they're multilingual. Their translator is getting
hard at work.
Oh yeah, he's getting paid well, whoever it is.
Yeah,
but yeah, they are. We just stopped looking at them because it was just, and I feel bad about that because I know there's a lot of people who are just so excited. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them, but even I have a limit of like, okay, I gotta read other things, man.
I get exhausted, information exhaustion.
Yeah,
but you know, I think it's probably because they're towards like the end of development. A lot of it is just ends up being just polishing and QA. So there's not a whole lot of things that they can like share with you that would be exciting. It's like, what? Oh, we found one bug today that would have been broken your game, but guess what? We fixed it. We got you.
Yeah.
You know, like that would be the most exciting thing that they can share that month, right?
There's only so like they'd be like, man, we had this thing going on for like 3-4 months. We just couldn't figure out why it would just crash randomly. But one guy finally tracked that bug down after, you know, triaging for a couple weeks. You know, it was a 15 story point bug he did all on his own. And, you know,
salute to that one guy. Yes,
that one guy.
Yeah, the entire update is just a big kudos to that one guy.
I mean, but that's just sometimes how development goes. Like, there's only so many times you can share like a character portrait of somebody new, right?
Yeah.
So so on the bright side, they're taking the time to really polish this game up, which is great because it deserves it. And I'm totally fine with waiting. I don't know about you, Baku. You
take your time. Yeah. Give me a good game.
Give us a good game. I got games to play in the meantime. Like, do you know, like, I got this entire backlog behind me. You can't even see it behind me right now, but I've got this entire backlog of Vigi games behind me. And if I don't hurry up, you guys are going to release this game before I'm done. So I need to speed things up. You've got all kinds of figures that you need to look at for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. The games are down there.
Oh, okay.
Like, you see the games back there. Like,
I do see the PS4 or is that there. PS5?
PS4 and PS5.
Oh, okay.
And then Switch and a bunch of other stuff.
Your camera's too nice and in focus. You know, you got the bokeh on the background. I can't even tell what's what. So, but yeah. So, you know, for a lot of us who are just really, you know, impatient, and I feel you. We've been waiting on a new good like Suikoden style game for 20 years.
Yeah,
we could wait a little longer, I guess.
It's a couple months, whatever, six months. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talked since speaking of Suikoden, they were supposed to do like a Suikoden HD, but it's been like crickets.
Do you suppose that they're going to delay the release of the HD Suikoden remasters for, you know, better coinciding with the new release date of Eiyuden Chronicle?
I don't know, but it's just like uncomfortable silence. It's like,
Yeah, that is a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do push it back to release next to Eiyuden Chronicle, because I think, personally, I am still of the opinion that they are kind of Johnny-come-latelys in the sense of like, oh yeah, Eiyuden Chronicle's doing really well on that Kickstarter. Oh yeah, we have Vidya games too. You know?
Well, it's still listing as 2023, so we'll see.
Yeah,
sometime this year, right? We got 4 months left, so
yeah, we'll see.
Coming soon. Yeah.
But on the bright side, they also gave us an updated gameplay trailer.
Oh, so good! It's so good.
Do you want to take a look at this trailer?
It's so good.
I know that we're doing more conversational stuff, but I'm not gonna not look at this trailer. Okay, guys.
Yeah. No.
Gosh.
No.
Wait.
It's so good.
All right, let's take a look at this. Because, man.
Also, all these trailers, link in the description once we're done. So, go look at them at your leisure too.
Yeah, and I think that this one was a little bit of a longer trailer, but it's a gameplay trailer.
No, 2 minutes. Not
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, that's probably longer than I want to stare at it. But if we want to like maybe move a little bit further to the gameplay meat here.
Oh no, it's coming.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, they're showing different things like dialogue, which the portraits looks amazing. The map, the people movement, amazing. Battle, boom, amazing.
Oh man, it's so fluid.
Oh jeez.
On that music.
I'm so excited for this. And I will not apologize.
Man, I love that they are placed on like different heights. Like, there's a couple of giant boulders that kind of like alter where they are. It's not just like, oh, we're all on the same plane, right?
I wonder if there's any like gameplay like effect based on their like elevation.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, that would be cool, but it might get annoying because like it's so random.
Well, is it random though? I mean,
I don't know.
Maybe
is it random?
Well, we'll see what their next encounter looks like. Are the same two like up on a higher plane in the background?
Because if it's always those two, then it's also kind of strange.
Oh, yeah.
It is those two. It is those two.
So I guess that most of the game screens are going to have like two higher elevation corners in the back, but maybe that'll depend. Maybe that'll change depending on like what formation you have selected.
Dude, that looks so. This game looks so freaking good. You have like the action time bar up in the top corner. The UI. Like I'm not even just looking at the character. I'm looking at the UI. The UI is so clean. My God.
Oh yeah.
This UI is so well designed.
Order at the top.
Yep.
Very classy. Very minimalist.
Yeah. Tells you everything you need to know. All the skill names up in the top right hand corner too when they do it.
Oh yeah.
There's a friendship combo.
Oh,
there's the dual tag.
Oh,
oh shit. Oh, excuse my French, but
preemptive. Yep, there you go.
Yep. Woo! Oh boy. We watched the whole thing.
That was 2 minutes?
We watched the whole thing.
Wait, that was 2 minutes?
That was 2 minutes and 30 some seconds.
What?
That was longer than 2 minutes.
What?
Yeah, see? Told you. It's 2 minutes. That might be a little too long. I'm like, dude, just watch. It'll fly by. What?
Man, that was a lot of fun. So, I was gonna say, I don't mind waiting a few more months for this, but now I also want to say I can't wait. Come on. I will wait, but I can't. I will.
You know what would fill the void?
Eiyuden Chronicle Rising?
No. Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars.
That's later this month. It will fill your void. You won't even notice the time passing. And you have all those,
that's right,
Trails game that you got to play. You'll be fine.
Oh, man.
You'll be fine.
Oh, God, that is such a pretty game.
I know. It just looks so good. I'm like, Derek's out to see this. All right. Moving forward to our next section with updates to past releases that you all got to know about. Starting with Mato Anomalies, the Playon and Arrowit, the publisher and developer, had just released their first DLC for the turn-based RPG Mato Anomalies called Digital Shadows. The DLC will add new content that takes place between Chapter 6 and 7. Players who made it that far can unlock a new playable character, new dungeon, and new battle mechanics. I think on Steam it's like $3.99, so it's like a kind of a nothing add-on to with like new characters. So pretty cool. I've heard good things about the game. I haven't tried it myself, but if you like sort of a darker themed turn-based RPG with this unique kind of like detective slash like monster exorcism kind of story, that's the game for you. And now we've got this new playable character and new dungeons if you want to get the DLC.
Wasn't like the main
cool
character
stuff.
kind of like a ninja with like the face mask and the ponytail or something. God,
One of them, yeah. They're two main characters.
yeah, and you switch back and forth between the two of them.
Yeah, the detective and the exorcist.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I want to play it. I just haven't had time, but I want to play it.
Ah, man. All right. Well, next up, Serenity Forge actually have announced that they'll be releasing the turn-based RPG Virgo versus the Zodiac for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, S, and Switch on the 23rd of this month. So we have a trailer for that game as well. If you're not familiar with Virgo, Virgo versus, and I kind of feel like maybe I don't think I know what that is yet, actually. So let's check that out.
Have you not seen that one?
I wasn't sure. Have we talked about this before on our show?
Oh, this game is. I think this game predates our show.
Oh,
yeah, they're just releasing the console version now.
Yeah, so the console versions are coming out, and they're coming out. So Serenity Forge is doing this. Are they doing a physical release with this, or is this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think they said that.
Okay, because I do know that Serenity Forge also has a physical game publishing arm.
That's right.
In addition to their vinyls that they also produce.
Oh my god.
Oh, we didn't talk about that. Well, we'll have to. We'll have to circle back around to vinyl a little later on. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Virgo versus Zodiac. I think you've never seen this game before.
No, it's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's really cool looking. Like that art style is very unique. I've heard the story is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's as you imagine about the Zodiac. That's Gemini, and you play as Virgo. Yeah. And also in boss rush mode apparently. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool looking game.
I remember playing this at MagFest one year. Like the developer actually went to MagFest and brought the game along. So it was really cool. Yeah. These game conventions, that's why I love going to game conventions. I see like indie games, indie devs actually show up, answer questions, chat with you.
Yeah.
You know, you can actively find bugs and like, oh, found a bug. They're like, oh, and like,
log it.
I got a story about that. So we were hanging out over at Something Classic, right? The folks who are working on
well, they were publishing My Familiar.
Yeah, well, they're developing it.
Quartet.
They develop it. Yeah.
No. They're publishing My Familiar, but I think My Familiar is being developed by a separate team. But Something
Classic.
A separate
team. It's a separate team within the company.
Are they? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty sure. In any case, they were doing play tests, and I was sitting there testing the game, and I'm like, yeah, hey, I found this one bug, and then just like 3 of them with the laptops, and just like, oh, okay, logging it, trying to fix it right now. They're like fixing bugs as you're playing the game. Just super cool. Only happens at game convention. If you guys never been to one of these game conventions, definitely give it a shot. It's so fun.
I was at Retropalooza a couple years ago, and there was a game that I played. It was the only indie RPG that was there, and it was called Talif's Journey, and I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. They had this really interesting concept where like you play with an Xbox 360 controller on computer, and each of the 4 colored face buttons represented a different element, and you would combine them to create different element spells. Kind of like Quest 64, but the game was a pixel art RPG and it didn't suck. So quite a bit different in some ways, but pretty similar in others. So I was trying to remember what this game was called the other day, because I'm going to be working on a video. Spoilers.
Where I saw you asking a question.
Yeah, I'm wanting to feature a lot of indie RPGs that use pixel art in an upcoming video. It's it's probably going to be a few videos. But I was looking for this game because I was like, I played it at Retropalooza, couldn't remember what it was called. Finally tracked it down through some like ace detective work. I watched somebody's video of like Retropalooza 2019 or 2021, or I don't remember when it was, but I saw it in the background. I was like, that's it. It's Talif's Journey. So I was like, I was so excited because I talked to the devs. They were super cool. And I was like, all right, I wonder where this is. Where are they in development? the website's down, the developer's website is down, the Steam page is pretty much abandoned. No activity,
God.
no social media presence. I think it's a dead
I'm so
project.
sorry.
I know. I
I'm so
was
sorry.
I was pretty excited about that. So
Yeah,
ah,
that happens
it,
sometimes.
I think it just goes to really show that honestly, that is not the exception. That is almost the rule. Is that a lot of the indie devs that we follow and love, um,
Fizzle out.
most fizzle out before they can
Mm.
release, and that's so sad. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, support your indie devs because they've gone through so much to bring their products to fruition, and you know, oh God, I'm gonna just go off on a little bit of a tangent because we're talking about this. I have got a soft spot for indies because they are living the dream, and by that I mean they're living a proverbial nightmare in order to make their dreams come true. But but I put out a video talking about one indie dev, and someone was like, "Oh, I don't know why people are so fond of these indie games because I've played games from like the 90s that were way better than these." I was like, "Well, hold on. That I understand where you're coming from. Like nothing's gonna surpass Chrono Trigger, right? I mean, nothing's gonna surpass Suikoden 2. I mean, very few are going to be able to surpass those things. But let's be real though. Like when you're thinking of like these games that are better than the indie games that you're experiencing right now, like you are cherry picking the best RPGs that came out at the height of the genre that were made by multi-million-dollar companies with paid professionals as opposed to like a guy who's working on something in their off time. Like at a certain point, like
not the same.
you really shouldn't be comparing apples and oranges. And plus they were also selling them for like 4 times as much when adjusted for inflation. Heck, even sometimes 4 times as much not adjusted for inflation. So, reel in those expectations sometimes but it's so cool that these guys are able to even do half as much as they are.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible. I've had like a newfound love for indie games, precisely because of the things that I was talking about that I feel like are missing in modern RPGs. A lot of these companies. Guess what? Guess who is putting the fun in games? Indie developers.
they are leading the way, and I think that will tie into a bit of a conversation piece that we'll have up ahead. But for now, we should probably move on to the next topic.
Heck yeah, we've got a lot of news to talk about, but they're very interesting stuff. So this next one too. Oh my god! Speaking of indies that are really good, Serenity Forge also announced they will publish a physical release. Speaking of. Right. So just right as you're asking, I'm just the next one is going to answer your question. Physical release of the Indonesian supernatural slice of life adventure game called A Space for the Unbound, which Derek and I had both played. And the physical release will be coming to PS5 and the Nintendo Switch sometime in Q1 of next year. The physical copies will come in base version and the collector's edition. And they look actually pretty cool, not going to lie.
Have they announced what's in the collector's editions yet?
They did. They did.
I wonder if it's going to come with gum wrappers.
It comes with the book. If you know which book obviously you know.
That book.
That book. The book that you used to dive.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. That's really cool. I hope that it comes with gum wrappers too. I mean, if you've played the game, you know. But gotta collect them all. I feel like it would be such an awesome little tie-in.
You've got me looking into it now, and the answer is kind of. I see the so the soundtrack download card that they have has the Yeoman gum like kind of design, so it's kind of cool.
Okay, I can dig it then.
I want to see the limited edition though, because this is not the limited edition. This is the regular
that's a standard
edition.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see the collector's edition.
Yeah,
If it
this was such a
loads.
classic indie, and it's funny that this came up because not yesterday, but during our last episode, we
Mhm.
actually ended up talking about A Space for the Unbound, and you weren't quite finished, but you were like chapter 5, so you finished it
Yeah.
now.
Oh, jeez, that game. Oh my god, that game. That game hurts in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ways that I'm not
I
comfortable
know.
discussing in length. um
No.
yeah, but the
That,
red book, a complete recreation of the red book is in the limited edition,
let me.
including a 254 page of exclusive art book and
This game.
a brass bookmark.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
It's okay. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna pick that up. I don't know.
I
We'll see.
might. I might.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty interesting. And
Yeah.
and I think it's a prime example of a game that is pushing boundaries that Square Enix would never.
No, that's a square no. Square Enix, that's a square no.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, check out Derek's video on it if you guys want to know what game we're talking about. We're like
Oh
in
yeah.
this like insider club where we're like, oh yeah, yeah, I know because I played it. But hey,
Because
you
if you
can
know, you
too.
know.
Yeah, you can know too if you watch Derek's video and maybe play the game. I don't know. It's this indie game. It's like inexpensive. Support indies. All right.
Yeah. Well, we have some games coming out this week. Well, is it this week or is it last week? I don't know.
This one is kind of a weird shadow drop that I didn't pick, but then the next one is tomorrow. So
Okay.
why don't you go ahead with the one that already came out?
Okay. So, Crimson Tactics: The Rise of the White Banner is a new tactical RPG from developer Black March Studio that just released. Uh,
That's right.
it was on Steam. It's Steam Early Access, so it's
Yes,
still
released on Steam earlier. Yeah.
it's out, but it's still being worked on. So the
Yeah.
developer stated that the game currently has about 15 to 25 hours of content. So hey, if you're that person who's like, hey, 25-hour game sounds pretty good.
That's all of you. That's all I've got for you.
25 to 40. I mean, this game will not waste your time. 15 to 25 hours of content from the story campaign, and expect to double that to 50 with the full game release next year, they say.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's pretty
Hey.
cool. We also have a trailer for that as well, if you'd like to see if this is something that might be up your alley.
It actually looks surprisingly good.
Surprisingly
So-
good.
Take a look. Take a look. So
Oh.
at first, I was like, yeah, I don't know. But then the more I looked at it, I'm like, that's actually pretty good looking.
This immediately, because
Yeah.
my weird propensity to play just the bizarrest of strategy RPGs is going to show here, but this reminds me of Suikoden Tactics art style,
Yes, it does.
where it's like cel-shaded character animations and they're polygonal sprites. Well, not sprites, but they're polygonal characters.
Oh, there's your overworld little map thing.
Oh,
That's
yeah, but
what you
that's
like.
different. I mean, I do like it, but it's still different because you can't. It's not free roam. It's pointing.
I can
Picking
see
points on a map sucks. I'll say it that way.
The art looks really good.
Yes.
And like it's got that Fire Emblem feel to it. A more modern Fire Emblem feel. The art, the portraits.
I like the character portions. I know some people probably won't because it's semi chibi, but
Yeah.
I like it.
The body proportion works for me. So
In
the
this
body
sort
is
of
elongated enough. The head is
Yeah.
small enough that I'm okay with it.
yeah.
It's all about the proportion. Chibi's fine, but sometimes it's a little too chibi.
Yeah, Baku is a connoisseur of adequate proportions and character designs. As
Truth.
he's a proportional man.
I'm a
So
proportionalist.
That's right.
Proportions.
it's all about them proportions.
All
So
about them proportions.
the developers have stated that the game is currently got 25 to 50 hours. That's or 25 hours so far. Will be 50 upon full release. Keep your eyes
Yeah.
out for that if you're interested in more strategy RPG goodness, because Holy cow, this year has been
Yeah.
stacked.
Yeah, it looks so good. There's so many tactical RPGs
I
out
know.
right now.
Oh, it's
It's
so
like
good.
no,
It's a good
no,
problem to have, but holy
yeah,
cow.
it's like no tactical RPG, like tactical RPG desert for like 10 years, and then just all these tactical RPG.
I know. Oh,
All right. Well, if you didn't like tactical RPG, we've got something else for you. Providing that you're a fan of wrestling and also turn-based RPG, which I'm sure there's like a niche out there somewhere, then you're not gonna want to miss this one. WrestleQuest from Mega Cat Studios finally here, releasing on all modern platforms tomorrow on 8/8, and there is a new release trailer that they had provided, so we can take a look at that real quick.
alrighty.
This is kind of be like the final build, you know?
That's some
It looks
that's some cool animation.
Every wrestling legend follows their own path to fame and glory, but you won't
Oh yeah, that's right. And these are the ones that are like based on toys.
Yeah.
That's right. What's
Yeah.
the other wrestling RPG that was like
Oh, Wrestle Story?
Yeah.
Question mark? Yeah. Well, this is the one that came out. This is the one that we covered first, for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how like these two ideas just occurred simultaneously. like on their own in a vacuum at the same time.
Okay, I wonder if it's like a similar phenomenon of like Bugs Life and Ants. Like someone has talked about that, where like
Things just
around
do
the
that.
same time, yeah, something extremely similar gets released, and it's very
Or
uncanny.
kind of like how in the PS2 era, like so many RPGs came out that were like tropical themed.
What is up with that?
I
Now
don't
that you
know,
mention it.
but there were just a ton.
Mhm.
Like I can't even name them all, but I mean, obviously some of them were like Chrono Cross, and then there was Final Fantasy X, and then like what else was there? There was a bunch though. Suikoden 4 was pretty tropical themed, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe people just really needed a vacation at that point.
They really want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And
Just time for an Okinawa vacation.
oh man, I am dying to go to Okinawa.
Baku's ready. Baku's ready for the Okinawa episode.
Mm-hmm. I am.
As a man of proportions.
Mm-hmm. That's a matter of
All right. Was that everything from WrestleQuest?
That was everything. So yes, the game comes out tomorrow on August 8th. Please check that out if you're interested. It's available on Steam.
Cool. Well,
Yes.
we've got some new games that are coming out here before too terribly long. We briefly talked about this game during the last episode of HitPoint. It's the spiritual successor of Patapon. It's called Ratatan. They launched their Kickstarter and they hit their initial goal of $141,000 in, drumroll, less than an hour. So with
That's the lamest drum roll ever.
I mean, I didn't have the sound effect queued up, but here, let's do this one. Nope, that didn't work. Okay. Well, I have no
That's
sound
okay.
effects. So, well, oh well. So that was in less than an hour they hit their goal. So I'm guessing it's probably going to happen. With little less than a month left in their campaign, they are currently sitting at about $800,000 for this development
Yeah.
as of the moment of this podcast on
Yes.
the 7th of August. So
Yes.
they got some time left to blow
have
that
like
out of the
24
water.
days. Yeah. I think they'll hit over 1 million by
think-
the end.
I do think that there is sort of this smile curve though when it comes to these funding operations.
Yeah.
Like there's the initial like wave of everybody who's like, oh my god, and then there's going to be this lull, and then about a couple weeks later is going to be the people who like have a paycheck come through and they're like, oh, okay, yep. Oh, now I'll jump in, and then a little after that is when it's like, oh, time is running out, and then you get a little bit of that creep up, and then that's
The
about it.
last minute people.
So my estimation is that this is probably going to pass 1 million, maybe 1.2 million.
Okay.
That's
Interesting.
my guess. What do you think?
Yeah, 1.2 sounds very sensible. So yeah, I'll go with that. We'll
All right.
see.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll see what the over under
we'll
is
see
here.
what what it ends up being.
Well, so we didn't really get
Mm-hmm.
to see much about this aside from like a very simple teaser trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But Ratata Art has provided
Mm-hmm.
us with an actual gameplay trailer for us to check out. So
Yes.
if you weren't comfortable throwing money at a concept art page that they showed before, now you can actually look at what the gameplay looks like, and we're gonna do that
Yes.
right now.
Oh, geez. I think you'll be pretty impressed with this. And remember last time you asked me how the game even plays?
Yeah.
Because there was no gameplay. I was just like, how does this game even play? And I'm like, I don't know how to explain it to you. Just go like Google, oh, not Google, go like, just go to YouTube and search Patapon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they translate the the logo
There
because they
you
know
go.
that
This
it's
is-
illegible. Oh, this music is great.
Yeah, that's how you play. So it's like you have to press button at a certain beat, and then like they'll like do their attacks on like the opposite side as they march towards from left to right part of the screen. So
This-
your soldiers on the left side, and they're marching to the right.
Okay. This looks,
Does that make sense?
yeah, kinda. Yeah.
So
This
you have
looks,
to time things correctly.
yeah, you gotta time it with the beat of the music.
Yes.
Good. God, that music is ridiculously infectious.
It really is.
Is this the music that like plays in your head as you're like waiting for a loading screen to finish?
I don't know, but if it did, I wouldn't be mad at it. So there you go. That's what Ratatan. Although what Patapon played basically the same way. It's we call it a spiritual successor, but honestly, it's just the
May as well be a sequel.
It may as well be a sequel.
Like you can even tell from like the artwork itself, the logo art is like, yeah, that looks like Patapon, but it's Ratatan.
yeah. I mean, I looked at the logo. I'm like, does that say Patapon? Are they allowed to do this? It's like, no, it's Ratatan. It just looked like Patapon. It's like,
It is a legally distinct, different game than Patapon.
Yeah, it's interesting, but
Yeah.
there it is. So now you know what the gameplay is like.
Yeah, and if you liked it, then you should consider supporting the project over at Kickstarter. Help them get to that 1.2 million that I predicted.
Make sure Derek
and
is
then
right.
stop immediately at that point, so I can be correct.
Yes, don't overshoot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of overachievers here in the audience. So stop it.
But with that, I think we're pretty much done with all of the new game announcements. So we do have some industry news to talk about. So let's go ahead and change this section over, and we can start talking about some cool stuff.
Yeah, this is where the discussion's going to pick back up, and believe me, it's there's some interesting things that we're going to talk about today. Starting with Fantasian, PC listing actually appearing on what is it called, the Steam DB, which is very exciting. So Sakaguchi's 2021 game, as you guys may know, is called Fantasian. It's so far been exclusive to Apple Arcade, but somebody has found this listing in Steam DB that's listed as Fantasian Play Test, which indicate that the game might be coming to PC.
If they can make it function, who knows? PC is pretty notoriously hard to work on. So
Yep. So I'm super excited to see this, because Derek has told me about this game. It's like, oh yeah, if you have a Apple TV, you should just like play it, and
if
just,
you got an iPad. I was this close to getting Baku to do what I did and just get an HDMI adapter hooked up to his iPad, play it with a Bluetooth controller, and use the iPad like a console. So close. You can still do it. You could get an You can get an early preview.
Yeah, but
with
I want Steam because I have to buy it on
Sure.
Apple.
yeah.
You know
No. Apple
Don't you
Arcade,
need it?
you get a subscription service. You get access to everything. It's like
but
Xbox
you-
Live or
You
whatever
have
they
to pay
call
for
it.
the subscription.
No.
No.
You get a free month. the first month is free. And that's enough time to finish this game. Like, and it's in 2 parts. If you're quick, you can finish both parts. I didn't pay until I forgot to cancel my subscription, but you don't have to. You could be a better person than me by milking money from Apple.
To remember? Do you think I'm gonna remember this? Because I don't think I'm gonna remember this.
Thanks to the sponsor of today's video. Just kidding. But I heard that there's a service you can use who is not sponsoring this video that could totally resolve that issue for you.
Oh, I see.
I don't know who they are. I forgot. I kind of block out sponsors a little bit when I watch ads on YouTube.
But own it on Steam.
Yeah. Okay, you could just buy it. Yeah, you could pay full price on Steam. Yeah, that's fine. And support Mistwalker.
Support Mistwalker, yes.
And Sakaguchi.
And Sakaguchi.
And then maybe they'll port Lost Odyssey.
Maybe they'll make a Fantasian 3 or 2 or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be a Fantasian 2 because it was a 2-parter where they put out like the first group and then they put out the second half of the campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was like one of those deals where they're like, stay subscribed to Apple and you'll. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it.
So you never? Oh, you did.
I accidentally did, yes. But I never ended up playing the second half. So I would be very happy with them coming to Steam so I could just, not pay Apple money to do it.
Okay.
So,
I would love to see both parts combined into a single game. So
I think that they
do
will
it by chapter.
I'm pretty sure that Fantasian. Nice. I'm pretty sure that the game itself was updated to include the second chapter. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. But yeah, it's a pretty fun game, and it's a wholly unique gameplay style or video game visual style. It plays like a Final Fantasy IX, essentially, as far as like the static backgrounds that are 2D or they are pre-rendered or pre-painted, hand painted, but instead of being painted, they were sculpted, and then pictures were taken of this of these dioramas that were then stitched together, and you play polygonal characters in this world. And the gameplay is a turn-based RPG.
Oh, turn-based.
Turn-based. And there's some interesting mechanics that were I think he was trying to utilize the iPad's like touchscreen a little bit. So like you could like curve attacks by like holding the like pushing, tapping and holding and like dragging off in like the opposite direction. So it kind of like slingshot off into a different arc.
Oh, okay.
So
I wonder how they're going to make that work on PC.
With a mouse, probably. Or maybe a right analog stick. Like it's so easy to adapt that. Like honestly, it would not be hard.
Okay.
But I think it'll play really nicely on PC. And you guys will definitely want to check it out when it does. I can't vouch for the story because I only seen the first half and it was fine, but not like obviously I wasn't so drawn in that I had to play the other half. But I'm sure that it would be a good $20 purchase, maybe.
That's a good pickup. Yeah. Support Mistwalker.
Yeah, support Mistwalker, guys.
All right.
Well, moving on to the next section here, we got a new Atelier that was announced by Koei Tecmo and Gust.
Will be announced.
Will be announced. It will be announced. They've announced the announcement of probably a new Atelier title.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've
announced that they will reveal a new title in the Atelier series tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time and 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
So yeah, it's going to be here on YouTube. We'll have a link to that down in the description below for all you guys at home who just need to see if this new Atelier game will have the right proportions.
Wink.
But beyond that, I think
is there on the joke? Are you in on the joke with Ryza? Do you know about the? Okay, never mind. I don't know. That's fine. Have you ever played an Atelier game? Is that one series that you've never ever touched?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time to shame Derek again.
I mean, trust me, if there was an Atelier game that I was going to play, it was this one. it just had some very interesting looking gameplay that caught my eye.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna play any modern Atelier, you should stay away from Sophie and you should play Ryza. I think Ryza plays more like a standard RPG that I feel like you're going to just kind of like get right in and feel pretty good about it.
Kind of ease you into it with a it doesn't go full on cozy, just right away. Like because some of those other ones are like super laid back, super chill vibes, crafting, and that's fine, but
it's recently in the last, let's say 72 hours, I binged one of the Atelier games.
Oh yeah,
because there are so many. I was in my Discord and I was chatting with some folks and we are talking about Atelier games, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's this one game that I want to play from the series." And I was like, okay, out of the 7 modern Atelier titles, I played one of them. And they're not long games. Like, they're not like a Trails game, right? I can play maybe 2 of these in one standard Trails games. So even though there are 7, like, I can blitz through them pretty quickly. So I should just finish one of them in about like 50 hours or so. Well, maybe not the last 3 days, but like bottom line is like I got through it, and yeah, it's interesting. So I'm waiting to see what games they're gonna announce tomorrow. I wonder. I mean, it could be a mobile game. It could be a new game to an existing series, which they have done recently, or it could be a brand new trilogy, which Atelier games tend to do trilogies. They like doing 3 games and move on. They've broken that rule like recently. But that's been sort of like the trend for a long time. They will release 3 games that are in the series, and then they move on to like a new series. But all surrounding female protagonists. Like there are certain constant female protagonists, alchemists, and just like having these party members that fills the ranks and joins you in this like relatively lighthearted journey most of the time. So we'll see what happens.
Cool. Now I do have just a quick update here. Introducing a new segment called Breaking News.
Oh my God, that's breaking news?
Yes.
What's going on? Yes.
Okay, so unfortunately, Mega Cat Studios have actually announced very recently, as of like right now, that WrestleQuest is actually delayed. Yep, been done delayed until August 22nd. So 2 more weeks. Okay.
Oh, boo!
No. It's I kind of foresaw that might have been the case.
I even double checked their Steam page while I was writing the script to make sure that says 8.8.
Yep. That's
Dang
why
it.
I know.
Dang it, Mega Cat.
We tried so hard, but
making us look bad here. How dare you? They did this on purpose. They knew we were talking about their game.
well, thank you everybody in chat for assisting with our brand newest segment of breaking news. Y'all are the best. By the way, did you like my special sound effect for the telegraph?
I love that you made it on the spot. It was pretty brilliant.
I thought it was pretty great too. Oh man.
Hey, we like to have fun around here. What is it? August 22. I got to update my spreadsheet because dang it.
Yeah.
Okay.
August 22nd. It's been delayed by a couple of weeks. I had a feeling I should have said something, but I had a feeling it was going to be delayed because earlier today, I finally heard back from somebody who was for a PR company that was talking about potentially doing a sponsor spot. Unfortunately, they decided to not go with me for this one. But that's all right. No biggie. Yeah. It's a busy month. But I was like, if I'm only finding out today, if I didn't get it, some people, got a lot of work to do tonight if it's coming out tomorrow. So I was like, I think something's up, but
okay. Nope, that makes perfect sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think it's time for us to move on to the next little bit of news. And I think that this one, man.
Oh, it's going to get meaty. Okay, you got your reading glasses on? You get your reading glasses?
Man, yeah. This is a bit of a doozy, doozy of an episode here.
A bit of a doozy.
This is I part of me loves this conversation and part of me hates it.
Yeah.
So I'll just go ahead and let's just dive into it without further ado. Hideki Kamiya, of Nier fame, right? Or is it Nier?
Well,
No.
Platinum Games.
Platinum Games.
Well, no, it's not. It's not Nier. It's Bayonetta.
Bayonetta. Oh, Bayonetta. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you. Hideki Kamiya thinks Japan should be proud of the term JRPG and wants to use J-Action. Yeah. Some time ago, we talked about Yoshi P, who told the publication Skill Up that he was not a fan of the term JRPG and they felt it was a discriminatory term with negative connotations at one point. We have a whole episode talking about this, and it's a way more nuanced conversation than that, but that was the headline that got spread around. So, contrasting against that, another industry veteran has chimed in and says that this time, Platinum Games VP Hideki Kamiya says in an interview with VGC, says, I have a lot to say on this. God damn it.
I love how they open with that line. It's like, do you have anything to say on this? I have a lot to say on this.
He's like, actually clear your calendar.
Yes. We're going on a journey.
Oh, man. So, when they asked him this, he's just like, just to be clear first, I have a positive sentiment when it comes to the term JRPG. Indeed, I think it's something that we should be proud of. Kamiya then continued, so when it comes to the term JRPG, this is something that ties into this. These are RPG games that, in a sense, only Japanese creators can make with their unique sensitivity when it comes to creating these experiences. Objection! I'll object to that, but that's fine. That's fine. Then they say, I think it's certainly something that should be celebrated moving forward, and someone should actually aim to make a King of JRPGs game to express that. Yeah, that's called Dragon Quest. But okay, as Japan, I mean, maybe I shouldn't, place that on. Maybe they could do something even more JRPG than Dragon Quest. As Japanese game creators, we're very proud of the actual term JRPG. Kamiya likes the term JRPG so much that he thinks there should also be a J-Action term.
It's true. He wants there to be a J-Action. So to talk a little bit on this, right? It is a very lengthy interview, and we're only giving you guys just snippets of it. We don't want to read you the whole thing. And we'll link the interview in the description.
This is not an audiobook. So definitely follow the link below in the description to get the full scoop here. But these are just the key takeaways, and this is a conversation that, man.
I know.
I'm conflicted about it, but I appreciate it, and I think it's coming from a place of love, and I appreciate that. Obviously, it is.
Yeah.
I only have one. Oh, but I'll let you talk.
Well, so I was gonna fill in and say just one quick thing before we continue, and that is Yoshi P did say that he felt like it was a discriminatory term with negative connotations. However, what a lot of people didn't report at the time also was that he also acknowledges that today it is, regarded very positively. Yeah. Okay. So he's not saying that today, 2023, JRPG is somehow like a bad word. He's talking about his journey as a developer, junior developer, going through the motions through the 90s and the 2000s, and the West had not been so kind with using the term and used it very negatively.
Yeah.
Not in like 2020, right?
Yeah.
So
And
just to give
also-
context to that.
And also, at no point did he ever say, you shouldn't use that word.
Yeah, I feel so offended that you are doing this to me.
Yeah. He was just saying,
yeah.
yeah. So we have a whole more nuanced episode where we talked about that at quite length. But to reel things back in, I think that he's pretty much right here. Of course I would say that because he's basically in agreement with me for the most part. So of course I'd be like, yeah, I think he's right because that's what I think.
Well, the other thing that I want to sort of cue you into is, so you're reading like little tidbits, right? But in between, when you're reading it, you're like you feel like something was missing. There was a whole chunk of thing that like all these things that he said that's missing. But let me just
it's the nuance
really quickly.
That's missing. Yeah.
The thing that he talked about, two very distinctive examples, or three examples actually.
Sure.
He talked about a JoJo the Bizarre Adventure manga that got translated and localized in English. He talked about the experience of Ultraman also localizing in English. And part of that is when he saw the English localization, he said, that's cool. They changed it. It's cool in their own way, but it's lost a lot of the sensibility that came in from the original work.
Yeah.
And then the third thing that he brought up is like, okay, there's Kratos, it's a Western game. We think about how we can make something similar, but he's this big muscular man. How can we recreate this kind of experience in our own studio? And then he was saying, well, basically we can't, because we don't have that sort of sensibility. So what did we do? We released Bayonetta. That's our answer to Kratos.
Yeah.
And that's in the interview. So, I would highly recommend everyone to read this relatively lengthy interview, but it's very, very interesting. Things he brought about. But that's sort of what he was talking about. Like
when he says that
creators having unique sensitivity, in creating these experiences, and that's why we should be proud of this that distinguishes it from just RPG. Like
exactly, because there are cultural differences that are shown, that some changes that are made to embrace the cultural differences. There are certain things in that make their approaches very unique in the way that they tell stories, and that's why Western RPGs are very different. And I think that for the most part, he's spot on with everything that he said. The one issue that I would take is his use of the phrase that, this is some, and I, like you said, this is way out of context. So there's probably some nuance that makes this more like he might be speaking in generalities, for instance. But he said that, there are some things that in JRPGs that only Japanese people can create. And I think that is something I would object to, because I think that while the Japanese people could have only been the ones to make it originally, at a certain point, it has been looked up to by people from such a young age. People have been playing Dragon Quest since I was born, since they could first read, and they were molded by these games, albeit through the filter of localization. But to say that they cannot create something similar, or something in that vein because of where they were born, or
their
dare
nationality,
I was gonna say, or the color of their skin, or whatever. That's a bit short-sighted, I think.
Yeah, well, so I would say, well, first of all, taking at at face value, right? I would also disagree, because what's that one JRPG that came out recently that was
Crimson
made by
Echoes?
this, like
Crimson Echoes made by one
Crimson
person.
Echo?
Or not?
Chained Echoes.
Chained Echoes. That's the one.
I was like,
yeah. For some reason, I always get those.
You got the echo.
I got Crimson from a different game. And there was two indies that were kind of like big at the same time. There was Chained Echoes and Crimson
something.
Gosh, what was it? Yeah, Crimson something.
Yeah.
And they were both really cool looking. And anyways, yeah, you're right.
You've been
Chained
looking at a
Echoes.
lot of indie games, and all the names starts mixing. I totally get it. Yeah, but Chained Echo, that's very much a JRPG. No Japanese involved in the main production, as far as I'm aware of. But they called it in the Steam page. You can look at it. They've called it themselves a JRPG. Yeah, and I'm not here to tell them that they're wrong. It very much is one. And so, yes, at face value. However, like you said, 2 points. One, like you said, there are a lot of things that we've cut out. So there may be things that he references that makes the sentence makes more sense. And also, remember, and this is why I like listening to Japanese voice acting, is because this was in Japanese. So whoever translated it,
that's another filter. Yep.
Different in word choices would immediately change. I mean, they do their best, but
yeah, this could entirely be shaped by the biases of whoever did the initial localization or translation.
Correct.
That's a stellar point there too. So
so I wouldn't hold this comment against Kamiya. Take the spirit of the most charitable.
The most charitable interpretation, sure.
Correct. Yeah, don't and I'm
don't
saying
add him
that,
on Twitter.
Yeah, don't add him on Twitter. Like, don't take this and be like, "Oh, you said this." Yeah, he said it in Japanese. It's probably not even this exactly. So
it was probably said as a way to exude like these are things that we're really great at, and not as a way to gatekeep what other people can do.
Thank you, Derek. That was the best way to articulate it. Yeah. So there you go. That's just an interesting little news that came out that we thought was pretty interesting. And if the next time you run into like like a social justice warrior telling you that JRPG is derogatory, it's racist. It's like, no, it's never even gotten to that point. No one's ever saying that. It's like hurting feelings. One developer didn't really like it. We respect it. We're not saying he's wrong. Like, he is entitled to feeling that way. He's lived that life. He's earned it, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that this is somehow like a bad word. So, don't get it twisted.
Yeah. Well, so the title of today's episode was like, this could be a bad idea. And it was not a reference to rehashing this discussion again. although it definitely although it definitely could have been. But it was in reference to some possible Square Enix decisions that are rumored to be going around. And Baku, I just need an adult to clarify what's going on here, man.
Okay. This is the part of the investigative journalism that kicked in today. So today, actually, was it today? It's today. Yes, today. Okay. I was checking out my phone and reading the news as usual, and I stumbled upon an article that said, and I quote, the title says, Square Enix moving towards more AAA games. And I'm like, what? Okay. And this is from comicbook.com. I take a look at it. And I read the article, and I'm like, did Square Enix decide to like not learn anything from like the whole Final Fantasy 13 ordeal? Because
or 16 or Forspoken or
well, 16 wasn't that bad.
16 wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, the 13 was this whole thing.
That whole okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were trying to think of something more recent, but yeah, 13 was.
Yeah,
that was.
So little history lesson for folks who may not have followed like Square Enix. There are a couple of times when they have really just put all the eggs in the basket and didn't really work out, and it took years to sort of like recoup the losses, and and a loss in what's the good word? Loss in good faith. from fans and lost in reputation. It's a lot of things, right? So 13 was this whole thing. And if anyone thinks I'm just talking about like 13 the trilogy, no, we're talking about like the original what is it, Crystal Novellas or whatever they called it. Like it's supposed to be 3 separate titles that mix up Final Fantasy 13. It's 13 Versus and 13
Lightning
Aikido.
Returns.
No.
Oh wait, no, this is before
that's
that.
what it that's what it eventually
That's right.
became, was like a 13 trilogy based on 13 base game.
That's right.
But it was supposed to be 3
I completely
separate...
I forgot about that whole saga leading up to. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yep.
Flashbacks.
And that was like when they were really focusing on like, we just want to put all our money in this thing. Okay. Nothing else matters. Okay. We're just going to do this and do this only. And they crashed and burned, and it took years to recuperate. Say what you want about Final Fantasy 13, like it or hate it. Okay. This is not the discussion. The discussion is what ends up actually happening to them as a company. I'm not saying Final Fantasy 13 is bad. I'm just saying that, as a matter of fact, the outcome wasn't great. So, as I was reading that, and I'm reading the article, it says they're citing someone on Twitter called Genki Japan, who then in turn cited someone else named David Gibson.
This is David going Gibson, really well. This sounds like it's going to go really great.
You see exactly what's happening. It says this David Gibson is the senior financial analyst who works for this company called MST Financial. So where am I getting with all this? Where am I getting with all this is, here's this publication, okay, that has this title that says Square Enix is moving towards AAA games, right? And in the article, they're like, they're moving from mid-sized titles and they're going to focus on AAA releases, right?
Wow.
And then you read the sources, it's like sources, Genki Japan. And I'm like, okay. And most people will end right there. They will read the article. They might not even read the article. They might just read the title and they'll just pile on, right? Just be like, Square Enix, what are you doing? You know, because we most of us like their, you know, mid-sized title, they called it, right? So your Life Alive, your I don't know, Octopath Traveler, right? Those are all mid-sized, right? They're not AAA, right? We like those, right? The modern Square Enix tries to do these experimental games. Some work, some don't work so well, right? Nier Automata is not AAA, guys, okay? It may look and play a certain way, but it's definitely not a AAA title. It's a runaway success.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not AAA by any stretch.
Kingdom Hearts 3, AAA. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, not.
There you go. So, I dug deeper. I said, okay, who is this David Gibson and why does he matter? Right? Because that's where the journalistic integrity comes in.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? So who is this guy? It looks like he is a financial analyst. He does work for a company called MST Financial. And I could not for the life of me find the tweet that he had said that Square Enix is moving away from mid-sized games. So I dug deeper.
Okay.
And it turns out that Mr. Gibson had deleted his tweets. They were in a string of tweets outlining the things that he had found out about Square Enix in this, what they're called, like these sort of like private, discreet, like analyst briefings.
Let me stop you right there. They're not called tweets anymore. They're called
Zeets. Zeets. Zeet.
I'm just kidding. I have no idea what they're called. But
I thought they were supposed to be called Zeets, but I don't think it. Yeah, they're posts now. They're called posts.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They're
So he deleted the entire post thread. Oh wait, you can't call them threads.
Yeah. Well, they're still threads. They are Zeet.
Oh, okay.
The Zeet threads.
Okay.
Zeet zets. I'm gonna spell it in chat. You guys are welcome. Yeah, try to pronounce that. I don't know. How are you supposed to pronounce that? Zeets.
Well,
the Zeets.
I think
It's all zits to me. Anyways.
Yeah, I think that that's so that like when you're, just going to town on Twitter, you can just be like, yeah, I'm just taking a
I'm being zitted at. He's zitting at me. Are you zitting me?
Okay, let's continue on with Gibson's tweets.
I'm sorry. Okay. So I anyways, we found the tweets. Okay, we found it because of course the internet would screenshot it. So that took a little digging, and I finally found the point where he says, and I quote, that he has like basically bullet lists of things that he finds out on these like analyst call. Number 5 says focused energy, less mid-size, more larger AAA console games. Companies said will take several years to impact. Okay, and that was at 2:16 a.m. Well, I actually don't know which time zone this person grabbed the shot at. So
sure,
but yeah, actually probably actually 2:16 a.m. Like so early in the morning our time. Now, that's what this person said. But the interesting thing is, of course, these tweets has been deleted.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to wonder either A, he has misspoken, or B, they are actually correct. But these are from a private call that maybe he shouldn't have shared these. So very curious as to what actually happened. But I am more sharing this, I think, not to say that Square Enix will be moving towards AAA, but more of a cautionary tale for everyone who are reading these news. That, yeah, these things come out. Look at Twitter right now. Like that tweet from One Such Genki Japan is still gaining traction. People are still piling on it.
Yep.
But I just am not very convinced that this is like
it's pretty sus.
Factual. It's just one dude from somewhere who is the financial analyst who decided to post about it and then delete it.
And if they did post it, that might be breaking some confidentiality stuff, which also means he's kind of suspect.
Yeah, so none of this is like Square Enix coming out and say, okay, here's our new direction. As a matter of fact, Square Enix isn't shy about telling us what their directions are.
I mean, they can't really be shy about it. As a corporation, they're beholden to their investors. Like they have to be, they have to be pretty straightforward about that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, like for example, they've talked about the company strategy. They talked about focusing on NFT. Remember those like annual like letters to the shareholder?
Yeah.
And remember those like financial statements that we've read before, where like in the very beginning they talk about how we're doing as a business, where are we focusing on like resources to, what are we looking to achieve, and then all the numbers, right?
Yep.
They're not shy about it. They don't have to hide any of these.
You cannot be shy about it, in fact.
Right. So that's the thing is if it's true, they'll come out and say it. They don't need to hide, right? NFT is highly unpopular, and they still are very like gung-ho about it. They don't care, okay? And if they truly think that focusing on AAA is the right idea, they'll tell us about it, right? So, but for now, like I said, I feel like this is kind of a cautionary tale of maybe just take things with a grain of salt when you see these things, and don't be one of the peoples on Twitter who are just like piling on, even though I don't think that they have actually gone through and see where's this piece of information even coming from.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, it is an interesting question now for all of us, including you in chat. Do you think this is a good idea if this is true? Because that it comes full circle back to our title, which is
Uh-oh.
I mean, so yeah.
That's man. I think I want to tackle this. I think you and I are on pretty much the same page also, though, which is to say, that would be pretty disastrous. I think we even talked about this in a previous episode where Square Enix seems to be at their best when it's not all writing on the line, you know, when they can be a little creative, be a little more agile, be a little like some of the most looked forward to games at this point from Square Enix that I hear about from fans is where's Dragon Quest 3? You know, the 2D
Right.
HD Dragon Quest 3. You know, saying like that's just disappeared for a while, but Dragon Quest Treasures was a lot of fun. A lot of people really enjoy that. Harvestella did super well with certain people. You know, if you're into the farming sim games, check it out. You know, it's the ones that are like multi-million dollar, like I mean, and I mean like multi-million AAA when they have like I don't even know how much money they put into Babylon's Fall, but it ain't good. It's gone now. Whatever it was.
Boy. Yeah. Ooh, what Babylon failed?
Yeah. Like it seems like it's almost like an inverse function of like however much money they put into something, it's like it just does worse. Trials of Mana remake was great. Not a AAA title at all.
Not by any stretch.
One of the best games that they put out in a long time from my perspective. No, a lot of people still love Final Fantasy 16, and you know that's more power to you. I haven't played it. No opinion on it. Some people have very strong opinions on it. Cool. Don't care. But what matters, I think, is like people. What matters is being able to put money into a project and get more money back out of it. And the stakes are a lot higher when you're doing AAA stuff with like Final Fantasy 16, Babylon's Fall, Forspoken, which just ate up all kinds of money. And 16 is probably going to do fine, honestly, in the overall scope of things. It's not the breakout
lifetime sell.
It's probably not going to do as well as Final Fantasy 7 remake. But I mean, maybe, I don't know. I haven't heard as nearly as much buzz about it.
So Final Fantasy 16 sold about 3 million copies. It's been cooling off. I did mean to talk a little bit about that too, and that is two related pieces of news. One is their new quarterly report came in, and they saw like a dip of like something like 70% profit. Operational profit, I think the term is.
Okay.
Now, on face value, it doesn't look very good. I did dig a little deeper to look at it, and I've got to admit, it's actually not as gloom as it sounds, because what they end up doing is dumping a lot of the costs associated into these quarters, and so it's basically just profit moving forward as far as like their balance sheets is concerned. You know, all the costs associated to the game is accounted for. So if they take a dip, it's because, you know, they have to eat the cost of development somewhere, right? So but then moving forward, it should bounce. Their stock took a dip when they sent the report out, but I think it's just like people getting a little scared because they didn't, you know, hit the targets that they wanted to hit. But that's the other thing that I feel like may have been misreported, and that is a lot of people reporting, oh no, Square Enix thinks that FF16 didn't sell well, and it completely misses their target. I think what Square Enix actually said is they were hoping that it would sell more, but this is actually within, you know, expected territory, which is very different from completely missed the mark, very disappointed, you know, doom and gloom.
Yeah, people, I mean, I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think a lot of I think a lot of these takes are people who are honestly spiteful toward the fact that Final Fantasy is no longer turn-based, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Square's lost their way," and they're just looking to twist the realities to fit the narrative.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I get that. Because I want them to go back to turn-based too. But I mean, selling 3 million copies in a month, in a few months, that's not bad.
No, that's well, it's cooling down is what their worries are, is that the trajectory, the sales trajectory is dropping faster
yeah.
than they thought it would be. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it is on PS5 only. So, and there just isn't as much install base as there are if you were to, do that for Final Fantasy 7. It was on PS4 until it was Intergrade, the one
Oh,
with
geez.
is it Intergrade?
The DLC?
Interlude? Yeah, the
Integrate.
DLC.
I think it was Integrate.
One of those. I mean, I forgot what. Oh, Interlude is Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Integrate.
it
I think
always
you're right.
confuses me. Yeah, I think it's Intergrade. Anyways, so until that, it was PS4 and PS5 and all that, right? But then, yeah, so FF16, of course, is PS5 exclusive, time exclusive, but still, if you're just looking at the numbers today, it's exclusive numbers, right? So I don't think,
and the
I don't think the
PS5
reality is
install
that bad.
base, the PS5 install base is also a little lower than the PS4 install base, which limits what your success at this point can be.
Yeah.
Honestly, so
exactly. So I don't think the numbers is actually as like I said, as doom and gloom as people are making it sound. It's truly not. And this is not me in defense of Square Enix. Like I think that they've made some pretty bad calls. And for people who have watched the show enough time, should know by now that I'm not a Square Enix fanboy. If anything, I'm one of the biggest critic.
By the way, why are you being such a fanboy right now, man? Just say it.
I'm just flipping between critic and fanboy, right? It's just I can never get this right. You either love the company, you hate the company, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but no, yeah, but I also think if they're going to move towards AAA focus, I really think that they're bound to repeat their mistakes from before.
Yeah, we would definitely lose something very special if they went to purely AAA approaches.
Yeah, I think they're looking at remember those cluster of Square Enix game that they came out with, and I still haven't played any of them. I lied. I played one. I played one and only one.
Star Ocean 6?
Star Ocean 6, yes. And only because I felt like TriStar needed a little help.
Tri-Ace.
Tri-Ace, not TriStar, Tri-Ace. But you've got what, Harvestella, you've got
Babylon's Fall was in that.
Okay, I'm not going to count that because that one's like
Forspoken was in that.
Forspoken. Dallas Field.
The Deerfield Chronicles.
Yeah.
God, what was
Valkyrie
the Valkyrie?
Elysium.
Yeah.
There are a couple of titles like in that cluster of time. What is it, like Everyday Life or something like?
Various
something?
Day Life.
Yeah,
that's the one.
the Who Care titles, right? But like it's a whole bunch of those games that came out right around that like fall, October, November timeline. I remember like every 2 weeks it's like, here's another Square Enix games, guys. Like God. What the heck?
Dragon Quest Treasures.
Okay, yeah,
that was also in there.
So it was like right around that time.
Live Alive was in that too, I think. Oh man,
yeah,
there was a lot.
There were a lot.
Octopath 2 wasn't in that, was it?
I don't remember.
No, Octopath 2 was, I think, early 21, or I'm sorry, early 2023. It's such a whirlwind. Remember. It's been such a whirlwind.
Tactics Ogre remake was right around that. Oh, remake, remaster, remaster make.
Yep.
Remixter, yeah. And I just hope that Square Enix, like the geniuses, the all these super Tokyo University MBA grads who works for them don't look at that and say, you know what, mid-sized game doesn't sell, here is our proof. It's like, no, there's so much more to it that before you draw the conclusion that mid-sized games don't sell. Look at all those games that we looked at, right? Like Sea of Stars, we looked at all these indie games, right? Like they are they are basically the mid-sized game if Square Enix were to make them,
Mhm.
right? In terms of budget and the amount of like, effort like
Some of them,
it costs,
yeah.
right?
Sea of Stars is absolutely an example of an indie studio eating Square Enix's lunch right now.
Oh my God.
That
Like,
is one of the most looked forward to, one of the most looked forward to games all year. Same with
Oh, yeah.
Crimson Echoes. That is
Yeah.
another example of them like just here's some game style that like Square Enix used to make really good.
Chained Echoes.
Yeah, that's the one. What did I say? Did I say Crimson Echoes again?
Echoes.
Gosh dang it!
I was like, are you sure?
Yeah, Chained Echoes again.
Yeah.
Just eating Square Enix's lunch.
Or like Eiyuden.
Yeah, Eiyuden Chronicles.
Eiyuden. I mean, Eiyuden looks
At
great,
least,
but
at least Konami had the decent sense to be like, oh yeah, maybe we should do that too.
we did it first, guys. Remember, don't forget about
I mean,
us.
they did it first, but we own the IP.
Yeah, yeah, and so they're mid-size as far as like development cost is concerned. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to like put them down. That's not
No.
what we're trying to get at. No,
Yeah.
they're mid-sized game in budget, but like triple A like games in just the appeal, right? And Square Enix could be making those games. Right? Well, nothing is stopping them from, and as a matter of fact, they have. It's called Octopath Traveler. It's called Nier Automata. Those are successful mid-sized games that they have created, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like they can't do it. They can.
Once upon a time, Enix as a company, what they would do is they would commission like smaller companies to make their games for them. They would reach out to people like Chunsoft to make Dragon Warrior 1 through 4, Dragon Quest 1 through 4. They reached out to Level 5 to make Dragon Quest 8. They reached out to Quintet to make Soul Blazer, Terra Enigma.
They need to bring it back.
I know. But let me just tell you, like, these are games that were like outsourced. Enix did not make their own games. Like Enix was a publisher who kind of like owns the IPs for a lot of things, but they didn't make the games. They never did. Square Enix made Squaresoft made games, and then they merged, and then Enix became a developer. I feel like Enix, though, the Enix portion, they should be doing that thing again. They should be reaching out to smaller studios. After Eiyuden Chronicle comes out, why don't they commission a few games from them? Once now that Chained Echoes is out, maybe reach out to that dude who made that game by himself, give him $1 million and see what happens,
Well, they outsourced a game to a relatively little known studio called Platinum Games. They made Nier Automata. It was great. And then they outsourced it again and they made Babylon fail and it failed. So it's not like they haven't done it. But no, I agree with you. They should do more of that.
Wasn't Babylon's Fall done by an in-house studio also, though? I thought they were.
I don't know how much percentage. I know for a fact that Platinum Games was extremely involved under the direction of their new president.
Oh, that's the problem.
Yeah, well, the new president came in and he made a proclamation that Platinum Games will no longer work on first-person experience. We will focus on making great live service games. And the first project that he took on under his leadership was Babylon Falls, and it ended about as great as you can remember it. So there goes that. That proclamation was, I was like, yeah, this is not going to end well. And a couple months later, I'm like, yeah, that didn't end well. I was on the money on that one. But they can take a page from Sega, right? Sega outsources a lot of games to smaller companies like Vanillaware, right? Like they just publish Vanillaware games through Atlas, basically, right? And They do oh my god, 13 Sentinel, let me tell you, was an incredible game. Vanillaware just like nails it, right? But there are other games. I think Atrian Odyssey, is that Atrian Odyssey? I think that's like another game that's like outsourced. I can't remember, as a matter of fact, but there has been a lot of these examples of just great developers with a lot of heart. They need some cash. Square Enix really should just focus on what they do well in. They do well in three things that I think. Three core competencies of Square Enix. Okay.
What do we got?
Being an IP holder. Okay. Being a IP holder and being and publishing them, right? So as a publisher, basically, as a source of funding, because cash flow is extremely important. A lot of studios are great at developing games, but they're not very good at running a business, right? So, resource management is extremely important that a lot of people don't think about, but it's true. Square Enix is great. And providing development tools. So IT support, basically, like advanced IT support for these companies, right? Give them the technology backing, right? Remember how I said, like, instead of investing into NFT, they should invest into AI technologies? Well, that's part of the mentality is, okay, if you would just invest in these things and you allow these like companies that they're not your subsidiaries, but you are outsourcing games to them to make games, and you share technology with them and you give them the financial backing to make a great game, they can make amazing things because they have the heart to develop good games, which Square Enix clearly does not have. That's what I think they should be doing, but what do I know? I'm only a lifelong Square Enix fan, or Square fan anyways. Never really cared for Enix.
Lifelong Square fan with a idea of project management and money management too. I think
love-hate relationship with Square Enix.
I think you're probably pretty accurate there, pretty on the money.
So love to hear what you all think about this little debacle.
And it occurs to me that I completely skipped asking the next question of the week because it's such a new section. So I'm going to bring it back to the question of the week again. So in addition, I'm going to ask you guys another question here because last week, we asked about game, things from older RPGs you would brought forward to the modern era, but this time. So the question I have is, do you guys prefer generally 2D or like sprite-based games or 3D model games? And depending on your pick, what game do you think features the pinnacle of your favorite visual style?
Ooh, you've chosen violence again.
So it's a two-part, yeah. Do you prefer 2D or 3D, and which one's best? So
Derek has chosen violence. This is it's going to be a bloodbath.
I know it's going to be tough, but I'm very curious to see what you guys think. So yeah, sorry, I meant to ask that at the top of the episode, but I'm asking at the end. So
we should ask again after talking about merch drops.
Oh, maybe that'd be pretty fun. Okay. So, speaking of, I think let's go ahead and start talking about merch drops, eh?
Yes, let's. Here's the part that we start to unwind the show, and a little interesting thing that we found. Speaking of Square Enix, is that Wizard of the Coast, a name that you don't associate with Square Enix, has just announced that they will be working with Square Enix to release a new set of cards based on the Final Fantasy series as part of their Universes Beyond series of cards, which also included series like Street Fighter and Lord of the Rings, among other things, which is actually kind of cool.
And the One Ring got like super popular, right? Like, or not super popular, but there was that big news thing going around with like the One Ring that actually rules them all.
Yeah, probably banned from competition use, I'm sure, immediately.
Probably.
Yes. So, which by the way, don't look at me as like some expert on Magic the Gathering. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So no detail on specific designs are shown at the moment, but Wizard of the Coast said that this set of cards will cover the entirety of this Final Fantasy series and not like a specific title. So this is not like a Final Fantasy X collab. It's like, no, this is just Final Fantasy period. So anything goes in this series. Anything is possible. These cards will be released in physical form and digital in Magic the Gathering Arena. So prepare to shell some monies if you are a Final Fantasy fan and also you like to play Magic the Gathering. This is like, you've got to get your hands on these. Good luck, because I'm pretty sure scalpers will just swoop in. And you've seen Pokemon cards craze over COVID.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's the same for these. And honestly, it's kind of been, as I understand it, it's been kind of really bad. Wizards of the Coast has been making a lot of their Magic the Gathering fans really angry with the rate that they're releasing different cards and different packs and different art things, because it's making it like, well, just
weren't they reprinting stuff too?
Oh man, I don't know if they did or not. Maybe they did.
And then they pissed off the D&D fans. It's so bad.
Yeah. Wizards of the Coast has been making lots of angry fans lately. I don't know how this is going to tie into that at all, but
we'll see. But hey, listen, I don't know much about D&D or Magic the Gathering. I'm just telling you about this because Final Fantasy is involved. That's the only reason why this made it to the docket. So don't at me about Magic the Gathering or Wizard of the Coast. I have no idea about them. I've only heard it in passing because I have other nerd friends with other nerd interests that we swap info every now and then. Yeah. But again, not an expert. Don't have a horse in this race. Just letting you know that Final Fantasy is cards are coming. Here's a thing that I am extremely interested in. So for those who may not know, I am a huge Xenoblade Chronicles fan. And I also like to collect figures. As a matter of fact, I have collected every single figure from Xenoblade Chronicles except for Cosmos because she never came home. Yeah. Damn you, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and your gacha mechanics. So Good Smile Company revealed a new scale figure of Mio from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at One Hobby Summer. There's a character designer who designed all the character, and his name is Masazuku Saito. They recently tweeted out a picture of the prototype for us to enjoy. Now, I brought that up on my screen.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, there we go. So this is the design that actually Saito had created, and the new figure will be probably this. They'll still go for some revision. This is a prototype, so whenever you see like a gray kind of statue of the figure, they're still prototyping. They'll make fine adjustments. They'll do stuff to it. So this is not the final design, but it's probably going to be something similar to this. Recently, Good Smile Company had released what is it called? The Figma, which is the action figure version of Mio. So a lot of people are like, well, what happened to the scale figure? I was one of those people who asked about the scale figure because I hate Figma. Well, here we are. They're working on it. So stay tuned for that. And more figure news coming out probably from Trails soon, because I have a gut feeling that we're going to see a new Trails figure in the next week or two. So fans of Trails who are also collecting figures, we'll keep you posted when that comes out.
Well, that about does it for merch and stuff, but we do have some super chats that have rolled in that we can talk about and respond to here. Starting with this one here, came in from Still Alive at the top of the episode, who says, Have either of you guys heard anything new regarding a release date, perhaps for Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters?
Were we just
I know.
okay, we totally talked about it without reading your question, by the way. It's still 2023. They haven't given us a firm date yet.
Yeah, super appreciate the super chats though.
Yeah.
Also, they followed up about 40 minutes later here with another question from Still Alive. What individual music tracks from RPGs have you been listening to a lot lately? Any real
Lately?
bops? Maybe I'll
Lately?
put them in my. Yeah, they said lately.
Okay, you want to go first, or want me to go first?
So yeah, the one I've been listening to probably the most. I mean, I've actually been on a real like city pop kick. So I've got a mix that is in my constant rotation. But besides that, well, there's my Breath of Fire 3 vinyl that I've been spinning that lately. But besides that, the one oh yeah, we still have to talk about that. I keep forgetting to talk about vinyl. Chat, remind me to talk about vinyl when I forget again. But the song or rather the album that has been on my most played lately, besides those two recent ones, is honestly it's the Brink of Time CD arranged soundtrack from Chrono Trigger.
Oh yeah.
It is a jazz soundtrack by Yasunori Mitsuda, but it is so good. It's an arranged soundtrack, so it's got a lot of songs that are like very similar to the songs that are in Chrono Trigger, but you know, you have xylophone, saxophone, all kinds of weird instruments coming together to just put this weird smooth jam together. Highly recommend you check it out on YouTube. I am so happy I picked up the actual physical CD of it, which never came out in the United States, but I got it for like $15 on eBay, and I'm very, very pleased. It is such a bop. I highly recommend it. What have you been listening to, Baku?
That sounds so good. You know, I just remember about that soundtrack because we've talked about it a couple of times too. Man, what have I been listening to? You know, I've been listening to Persona 5 soundtrack only because I'm going through Persona 5 Royal right now. And
it's so good, isn't it?
You know, if there's anything I can say that's good about the Persona series, first and foremost is the music. The music is so good. It's a different kind of music that I typically listen to because I typically like the classical, like kind of, well, not classical, but like orchestral kind of music.
Oh yeah.
From, let's say, your your typical Final Fantasy games, right?
Yeah, the strings,
Or
the
the woodwind, or it would be something like I don't know, like East and Trails, like the Falcom kind of like rock infused, like beats that I really like. And but the Persona just takes it to like a completely different direction from the things that I'm typically listening to, right? It's more modern,
whole bunch
compared to
of
some of these
acid
other
jazz. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a whole different kind of like music, right?
It's
And
kind of funny that we're both talking about
so
like
nice.
video game music, but we both end up talking about three different jazz soundtracks because I'm talking about Breath of Fire,
right?
and then the jazz or arranged version of Chrono Trigger, and then you've got Persona 5. That's like
so
the
good.
jazz trifecta of
Right
of
there.
video game RPG music.
Exactly. Oh, so good. It's so good. So yeah, if you guys haven't played Persona 5 yet, I honestly, so far, I'm just really loving the game. In fact, if I wasn't so busy last week, I'd play more of that.
Yeah, it's a fun one. But
it's absolutely a fun one.
Now, before I forget, the subject of vinyl has come up a couple of times. And I'm just gonna ask you: Are you gonna get the Persona soundtrack on vinyl, Mr. Baku?
Oh my god! Okay,
it's only like $500.
Do I look like I can afford $500 right now? Okay, so the reason why this has been so funny is because, as you guys may know, Mr. Derek is a what's the right word?
Audio enthusiast.
Sure.
Old. I'm an old media hipster.
I was thinking hipster, but
Okay, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
But no, like Mr. Derek, he really likes his vinyl, and I've given him a lot of hard times for I'm like, why do you get vinyls? Why don't you just get CD? Why don't you just get MP3? Why do you insist on paying like an obscene amount of money for a technology from the bygone era that doesn't have any like real benefit other than what are you gonna do, like take the vinyl and like put it on the frame and put it on your wall? Like, what are you doing with these? And they're so expensive too.
Some of
like
them
my
are.
God,
Some of them. Okay.
most
So
of them are.
I got 3. I got Breath of Fire 1, 2, and 3 each for $20 off of Ship to Shore Media. Like
Is that right?
They were all half off. They just had a sale on Ship to Shore, and I was like, oh, I'll snag all 3. Complete the set. I mean, it was very reasonable. The Mother 1 soundtrack that I picked up, it's also an arranged soundtrack, by the way, on vinyl, was very affordable. I got it for like $30 from Japan. Like, yeah, it's not. I mean, act now before all of the 100 people watching right now swipe up all of the cheap ones. But it's not always super expensive. It's just when they're usually brand new from video game publishers.
Oh jeez.
Oh man, I just recently picked up Led Zeppelin 1, 2, and 3 from a local record shop for like $25 each.
Oh, okay.
They're not bad. They're really good shape actually. So yeah, it can be expensive if you want to dip into the nether reaches of snobbery, and only get audiophile grade equipment that was, all of the harmonic resonances were removed with this, laser or whatever.
Oh my God. I didn't know that the rabbit hole goes that deep, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Some people,
by it.
It really shouldn't go that deep because that's all woo. But some people have more money than sense, as it were. But anyways, so yeah, welcome, as I said in our chat, welcome to the dork side.
No.
You are now an audiophile dork.
Oh, geez.
Welcome. It's good to have you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have one last super chat that came in from Kansad, who says, "Thanks for all that you do. Love the podcast."
Hey, appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. And appreciate you guys listening. And I appreciate all of you guys at home listening as well. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Give it a like if you did, or if you're listening on various other podcasting platforms of choice, give us a review. It super helps. And I guess we'll see you guys on Sunday. Until then,
yes.
Baku, have you got any closing thoughts for the people?
Many games we need to shame Derek into playing. So start shaming. Start zeeting at.
Oh no!
Oh wait, no, hold on.
What?
I'm on Twitter right now. It still says tweet.
Hey,
there you go.
All right, laters.